Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets.
The transparency, the openness, the communication is more than you could expect. I'm sold.
So we have a special episode of Kiss My Assets today. This is Jameson, CEO of Neighborhood Ventures, and we have Mat Sorensen, CEO of Directed IRA, joining us in studio today. So really happy to have you here, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here in your studio.
Yeah, you came all the way over. You're actually here in Phoenix as well. A treat to have you come over. You're a busy guy, so we appreciate you taking the time. So we're talking a bit about the fact that you can use a retirement account to invest in things outside of Wall Street stuff. And I think a lot of people don't realize this, that there's a lot of dollars that are in retirement accounts, and folks put this money away. The government's incentivized us to put it away in retirement accounts, pre-tax, post-tax, but there's all these incentives to do that.
Yeah.
But they don't realize they can invest in things outside of the stock market and mutual funds.
Yeah.
And that's really what Directed IRA focuses on.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly what we love, is that next step, because the government has done a good job, and even the financial services industry, Wall Street, has done a great job to say, save in your IRA or 401k. The government's giving you all these tax incentives. The company you work for might have been matching money, throwing in your 401k that you've worked at for 10, 20, 30 years. And that's freaking free money. You'd be crazy not to take that, even if you're just going to buy a mutual fund you don't care about. But that's not all that's on the menu for your IRA or 401k to invest in. You can actually own real estate with your IRA, and I know you guys have had hundreds of investors use IRA dollars or 401k dollars using the self-directed IRA strategy. And that's what we're doing at our company every day at Directed IRA, is opening up accounts for people. And we're opening 50 new accounts a day right now. It's insane. And the majority of those clients, 60% of them, are investing in real estate. They're buying a single family rental. They're private money lending to some other investor, getting interest in points, or they're investing in a fund or a syndication, doing a bigger deal that they couldn't do on their own. And so I think it's awesome, because I love real estate personally, and my retirement account invests in real estate, just because I believe it as an asset class, but you just don't get it on the menu at your broker dealer.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I discovered as I was a corporate guy working on Wall Street. I had a 401k, and I could invest in whatever Fidelity offered.
Yeah.
And then as I read your book, actually, the self-directed IRA handbook, that as I was getting in the industry, I realized that you can use those retirement funds for things like real estate, which is what my passion is, and multiple other things, crypto, owning businesses in that same account. But you have to move it out of Fidelity and TD Ameritrade, and you have to move it to a IRA custodian, which is what Directed IRA is.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is, if you have a IRA at Fidelity, and I get this all the time, I'm like, man, I heard I could buy real estate with my IRA. And I called up Fidelity and I said, I want to invest in this deal. And they said, I can't do it. And I'm like, well, that's not because IRAs can't do it. That's because Fidelity IRAs can't do it. Okay, you're at the wrong place, And I always like to give the restaurant analogies, It's like you walked into McDonald's and tried to order a chalupa, okay? You can have a chalupa, but you're not going to get it at McDonald's, okay? And so Fidelity, or think about this, TD Ameritrade, right? If you have an IRA account there, what do they let you buy? What they sell. They're a broker-dealer. They're going to let you buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You're like, well, I got an IRA at Northwestern Mutual or New York Life. Well, what do you think they're going to let you buy? Annuities.
Yeah,
because that's what they sell.
That's why they provide the account, right? Is so that you can buy the stuff that's on the menu.
Yeah, it's your local credit union that lets you have an IRA. What do they let you buy? The CD that the credit union sells.
So if you have a self-directed IRA account, the title kind of describes it, you have the ability to invest in other things. And in your case, you at Directed IRA, you don't actually offer any investments, correct?
Yeah.
You just open the account, you facilitate the account, and then folks can invest in these investments like ours at Neighborhood Ventures through that account.
Yeah, exactly. And so we don't give investment advice or even options on what to invest in. People come to us and they decide for themselves what to invest in. And it's all unique assets, It could be a Neighborhood Ventures deal, and there might be other, 100 other people using their IRA to invest in it. But it's not like these mass marketed things. I mean, we do have some very big private equity funds and stuff like that. That might be some blue chip names like a KKR fund or stuff like that some IRAs are investing. We've had clients IRAs invest in small businesses or startups that became publicly traded companies. There's some things that have gotten bigger that have a lot more investors, but a lot of it's unique, It's just stuff they find the rental property down the street. It's the private money lending deal over here. It's the neighborhood ventures deal that's in their community. Excellent investment opportunity for them versus the mutual fund they couldn't even tell you the name of. And so people have just been attracted to it because they get more connected to their money.
Right.
And also they feel like they can perform better. Because everyone's goal with their IRA or 401k, right, is to have the biggest IRA or 401k possible when they retire. I want to grow this thing so I can stop working or so I can have a super comfortable retirement. Well, in order to do that, you got to invest in things that drive returns. Don't just rely on contributing to it every year. We're going to get more bang for our buck by driving better returns. And that's what attracts people to self-directed IRAs.
And talk to me about the most common ways to grow the principal balance of retirement accounts. So there are limits on how much you can put in your retirement account. I believe it's $6,500 a year for an IRA right now.
That was the 2023. So for 2024, it's $7,000 a year in an IRA.
That's the most that the government will allow you to put in an IRA.
Yeah,
in
if
that
you're
year.
50 or over, you get into an extra 1,000.
Okay.
But then 401ks, it's a lot of people, they have a corporate job. They're putting 20, 30K a year in their 401k. We have a lot of self-employed clients. They use what's called a solo 401k. They can put $69,000 a year in new contributions, as long as they're making enough money.
And huge tax benefits there.
Yeah, phenomenal.
If you can max that out, if you have that cash to defer it into that retirement account. Let me go back to specifically IRAs. So you have this $7,000 cap. But then there's also a thing that I came across and which really launched my account was when I left my employer.
Yeah.
I was able to roll my 401k into an IRA.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about how that works because that really launched my balance quite a bit.
There's $38 trillion in U.S. retirement accounts, right? There's no more money anywhere to invest in anything than U.S. retirement accounts, right? And some of you listening are like, well, I got a little sliver of that 38 trillion, But of that 38 trillion, 15 trillion is already in IRAs. And that 15 trillion in IRAs, a very small percentage of it was from people putting in $7,000 in their IRA. The majority of the money of that 15 trillion in IRAs was old employer 401k. It's people that saved 10, 20, 30 years in an employer 401k, dropping money in from every paycheck, investing it, having their employer do a match, and then they leave that employer or they retire and they roll it to an IRA. And so that is the vast majority of money that are in IRAs right now. And those are bigger sums. So the most common person that opens up a self-directed IRA, like our company, Directed IRA, directedira.com, it's a rollover, or it was already rolled over from their Vanguard 401k 2 jobs ago into a TD Ameritrade account, and then they move it over. Or it's still sitting in the old employer 401k, and they roll it directly to a self-directed IRA. And I think that group of people are the most common self-directed investors because they've realized, oh my gosh, I got 300 grand over here that I haven't paid attention to. I don't even know what's invested in, frankly. And now I can invest it in real estate. Now I care.
They may not even know that they have this option. But so you're saying if they've left the employer or if they've retired, now they have the option to roll it over into an IRA.
Yeah. I'll give a little lesson on how the rollover rules work from The Office. You've seen The Office, right?
Yeah, sure.
Show? Okay, all right. Who in the studio? You've seen The Office, right? Allie's a little younger, so I had to make sure. My daughters are in their early 20s, and they know The Office. Okay. So in The Office, we have Pam. Okay, remember Pam? That was Michael Scott's girlfriend. Okay, and she quit or got fired. Okay, so she had a 401k at Dunder Mifflin. She doesn't work there anymore. She can roll that to a self-directed IRA, right? Because she doesn't work there. Okay, now let's take Jim Halpert. Okay, big tuna. All right. Jim Halpert is in his 30s, I think, in the show, right? And he stays working there the whole time. So he can't move the money out. If he's got money in the Dunder Mifflin 401k while he's still working there, he's stuck. He can't move the money at all. Now, the other employees, though, you got are, let's remember, Creed and Meredith.
Yeah.
They're like older in the show.
They've been there a while.
Yeah, but they still work there.
Yeah.
But they've hit retirement plan age, which is 59 and a half. And in some plans, it's 55. So even if you still work at an employer and you've hit retirement plan age under the plan, which at the oldest is 59 and a half, you can move your money out. So if you're 62, let's say you're Creed working at Dunder Mifflin, you got the Dunder Mifflin 401k, you can actually move your money out of the Dunder Mifflin 401k to an IRA, even though you still work there. So those are kind of the 3 different scenarios. I don't work there anymore, but I still have money in the 401k. Like Pam, you're good. You can move that money to a self-directed IRA. The one you get stuck is, think of like the Jim Halpert. You still work there. You're not retirement plan age. But if you are a retirement plan agent and you still work there like Creed or Meredith, you can move the money out.
But if you're Jim, you should keep putting that money
yeah.
in that 401k, especially
Even
if
though
it's
the
getting
investment
matched
options might suck.
for now.
Yeah, because you get the match.
And you get the
It's
match.
free money. It's
and then-
100% return.
And then you can put in another $7,000 a year into the IRA directly.
Exactly.
Also.
You could also do that on top of that.
And so advice to a young person who's Jim is kind of hold your nose into what you can invest in right now. I mean, you can invest in some good mutual funds and other things that are available to you, but invest, put it away, max it out.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, your options open up.
Yeah. And I think I run across a lot of self-directed investors because they're typically more entrepreneurial people. They're like, I want to go find a deal or do something different. And they're okay kind of like going out and doing it. But a lot of them think like, well, I got to find like the next Uber or I got to find the next property that's going to be 100x return. And then they do nothing.
Yeah.
They do nothing. And so I'm like, guys, just start saving, putting money away. I don't care if it's the S&P 500 fund or it's some target date mutual fund. Just start saving. That's not where you're going to be forever.
Yeah.
But then you're going to find this other stuff, an opportunity that's going to be a double. That could be a triple. And maybe then every once in a while you get a home run in there. And so, but so many people just never get on freaking base. They don't do anything because they're looking for the home run pitch that never comes.
Yeah. Let me talk to you about the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. And we can even use some simple math here. But if you could kind of give a summary, what's the difference between a Roth and a traditional? Why is that distinction so important?
Those are the two big account options out there. And it's the same in the 401k. You can have a Roth 401k or a traditional 401k. Sometimes in the 401k space, it's called pre-tax traditional, post-tax Roth. So in the traditional IRA, the deal is you put money in. Let's say you put $7,000 in your traditional IRA. It could be 20 grand in your traditional 401k. The government's like, thank you very much. We want to incentivize you. You got to take a $7,000 tax deduction because you put $7,000 in your IRA. So if I made 100 grand that year and I put $7,000 in my IRA, IRS is like, we're only going to act like you made 93,000 because we're going to let you reduce your income with that deduction down to 93, which means you pay less tax. Now, the deal with the traditional is when I go and invest it, I don't pay any taxes. I'm buying stocks and selling them. I'm getting dividends. I'm investing in real estate. I'm getting rental income or cash flow or the property sells. I'm not paying taxes as I go, right? Not hitting my 1040. It's off my 1040 and that is growing. Now, the downside on the traditional is when I start pulling the money out at retirement though, once I hit 59 and a half, okay, your IRA or 401k is like long-term wealth building, okay? But once I start drawing that money out, I pay taxes, I pull it out. And so that's the downside on the traditional. We love it now because it helps me pay less tax now and I get a deduction, but I will pay tax in the end on the way out. Now, some people that like the traditional say, yeah, Matt, but in retirement, I won't have my job anymore. I will have sold my business. I won't have money coming from that. So I'm going to be in a lower income tax bracket in retirement. But if I am paying tax on that, it's going to be pretty minimal. I can be living off my assets. I'll own my home at that time, whatever. I mean, everybody's got their own little methodology. So that's kind of like the traditional case.
Yep.
Now, Roth is different. Roth, if I put $7,000 in a Roth IRA, the IRS is like, thank you very much. No tax deduction. So if you made $100,000, you put $7,000 in a Roth, you still pay tax on $100,000.
Yep.
Now I invest that $7,000 though, just like the traditional. I don't pay taxes. I'm building that account up. Every dollar goes back into it. I get to reinvest it. But the perk on the Roth is when I hit retirement, I get to take that money out at 59 and a half and I pay zero taxes. I'm pulling it out. So people that love the Roth, the concept is I'm going to bypass the tax deduction now. It hurts me now because I got to pay more tax to the IRS and to my state if I'm in a state with state income tax. But if I can put maybe like 100K in that thing and I can turn that into $1 million, I'm having $1 million come out in retirement totally tax-free. So we actually get more Roth accounts than traditional just because our clients hate taxes and they're playing the long game.
Yeah, if you're playing the long game and you have that discipline right now, and you can start putting that money away to where you can grow it to $1 million plus.
Yeah.
When you start taking it out, to not pay any taxes on it is such a huge benefit that I think it's hard for us to understand it right now. But to have a couple $1 million in an account, tax-free, people who are retiring right now and they start hearing that and they go, man, if I could have done that when I was young.
Yeah, I know.
They all do it. If you can have $1 million plus in a Roth IRA account tax-free, you're going to be real happy you did that.
Yeah. I mean, my largest client has a $400 million Roth IRA. Okay. I have a lot of clients, 10 million plus Roth IRAs. My self-directed IRA summit that it's going to be probably after this is posted, but it's sdrasummit.com. But we do it every year. And this year will be in Dallas on April 20th. But I'll have one of my clients there. He has a $10 million Roth account and he talks about how he did it. He converted traditional dollars. So he had a 401k and then he had an IRA of traditional dollars that had a few $100,000 in it. And when he realized he could convert to Roth, they used to restrict high income people from converting to Roth until about 15 years ago. They removed the restriction. Once they removed that restriction, he converted immediately because he understood the power of the Roth. Now, to convert, this is important. If you have a tradition, you're like, well, I want to get to this Roth game over here where I can grow this thing and pay no tax. The IRS will let you convert.
But you have to pay your taxes.
Yeah. So this client, he had $300,000 in a traditional account. He converted to Roth. Now, what he had to do was pay taxes. So that $300,000, he got a 1099, and that went on a 1099-R. So he takes that into income, like he has $300,000 of income. But the government's like, but we will treat this as Roth dollars now. So now it was a Roth IRA, and now his account is worth over $10 million.
Yeah,
because he's done good real estate deals in it.
Yeah.
And so for him, it was a no-brainer because he knew he could supercharge this thing. He knew he would put it into great deals and investments. He was already in the real estate space before. So you can get over to Roth if you're already traditional and you want to get over to the Roth party, but you got to pay the price to convert over.
And one of the things that I heard when I was younger and started really thinking about this is that it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep.
Yeah.
Over time. And the biggest expense that we have as citizens of the United States are taxes.
Yeah.
So if we can avoid that expense,
yeah,
we're going to keep more of our income, let's call it 30 or 35% expense. And this is one of the ways, completely legal, completely supported by the government, to not pay taxes. So my advice to anybody who is starting this game, and this is a game, finance is a game, that we're all in capitalism here. To win the game, this guy that has $10 million in Roth IRA, to me, he has won. And I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
So let me transition to one other question. So when you create a self-directed account, you can also do an LLC within that account. And this is something that I learned a lot from you through your handbook and the videos that you have online that discuss this. But if somebody's looking at creating a directed IRA account, why should they go and create an LLC within that? And why should they just not worry about that and place their funds directly with directed IRA?
Yeah, it kind of depends on everyone's situation on whether you want to use this LLC strategy or not. So the first thing you're going to do, though, is let's say you've got that IRA at Fidelity or the old 401k, right? The first thing you got to do is you got to set up the self-directed IRA at directed IRA. Then you got to move the money over, which is a transfer, and our team helps with that. So you can get on our website and book a call with our team. We help open your account and move your money over from wherever it's at. But then you got to decide, all right, now how do I want to invest this? Now, if you're like, well, I want to invest in a neighborhood ventures deal. Okay, that's easy. Don't even worry about this LLC concept we're talking about. Your IRA is just going to invest directly into Neighborhood Ventures LLC, which is an LLC already that's going to go own a bigger deal, right? And there'll be other investors in it with you. Some people are like, yeah, Matt, I want to go do my own property. I'm going to go buy the duplex on 123 Green Street. Or I'm going to go buy properties at auction, or I'm going to go private money lend it. And I'm going to be out doing short-term loans to other people doing real estate deals. And so, and I've done some of those things in my own retirement account. I use an LLC with my account. And so what you can do is rather than your IRA going and buying and owning the property, your IRA invests into a newly created LLC and owns the LLC 100%. The LLC has its own bank checking account. It's just an LLC business checking account, nothing special about it. We do have some banks that we work with that are good at this. And so your cash is now in this LLC checking account. Now the LLC goes and does deals. You don't own the LLC. Your IRA owns the LLC 100%, but you can be manager of the LLC. And manager of the LLC is like president of the corporation. That's who has authority to act for the LLC. So now when the LLC, I want to go buy something, I just make the purchase contract in the name of the LLC. So I'm going to go buy the property at 123 Green Street, and my LLC is called ABC Investments LLC. The buyer on the contract is ABC Investments LLC. I'll cut the earnest money check from the LLC. The LLC is going to get the income, right? Obviously, I'd send the wire to close, but then the LLC just gets everything. It gets the income, it pays the expense, it gets the proceeds when it sells. You can reinvest from the LLC. You don't ever take money from the LLC because you don't own this LLC. Your IRA does. So if you want to ever take money, you have to send money from the LLC back to your IRA, and then you take a distribution from your IRA. But in essence, it's a way to give people control of their investments better if they're going to go do their own deal. Now, if you're going to invest in someone else's deals, even do a long-term loan, or you're going in a syndication or a fund, don't worry about the IRA LLC. But if you're like, well, I want to do my own deals, or maybe I'm going to invest in other people's deals, you could do the IRA LLC, and I've done that too. I've invested in other people's deals at the LLC level, its own properties itself, it's private money lent to other people. That's called the IRA LLC or checkbook control IRA. There's a whole chapter in my book on it, section at my summit, lots of content on our website too on how to structure that. Because I'm not doing it justice here right now, but that's the gist.
This just goes to the point of this is a complex area because it involves taxes, it involves legal compliance. So you want to be educated. And in some cases, it makes sense to create this LLC for some people, and sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The last question, actually, I have two questions remaining. One was an investor has a specific question, and I haven't prepped you on this question, so we'll see how you do on the answer.
I need no prep.
No prep, and it's a little complicated. It has to do with our REIT.
Okay.
But a more simple question before that one is, it is a bit more complicated to do a self-directed IRA. There are some fees that you have to pay every year. They're pretty nominal. But at what point does it make sense for a minimum amount to start a directed IRA account versus just leaving it in Fidelity, which is probably free as you grow it? At what point does it make sense? Do you need to have at least how much to make this move?
Yeah, I think if you're going to just park a pot of money and not put any more into it, I would kind of say about 50K is a good number to start self-directing. You could maybe go at like 20 or 25. You're like, well, I'm going to send some more money over later. I'm going to keep making contributions every year and build it up. But if you're like, well, I'm just going to drop 10,000 and not put another cent in it, I don't, by the time you pay fees, our annual fees $395. I think people have a special deal, but let's say you're paying $400 in fees. I mean, that's going to eat into your return with only $10,000.
Right.
And so you got to be careful on how much you're paying at fees. Now, we're pretty competitive in the space. We're not the cheapest, but we're definitely on the lower end in fees and have awesome service and know what we're doing. We'll take care of you. But there's some companies that would charge you $1,000 a year in fees. It's definitely a lot over 500. So you want to be careful on the fees. But I kind of think 50 is the general answer, but I think it's a good number. Because there's a lot of deals you can do at 50K. You can cover your expense hurdle, obviously, if you have decent returns. That's probably where I'd set it, is at 50K.
And it is a move that you want to think about. You want to be strategic about. I think people should take a look at your book, should take a look at your other content online. And I would say you're one of the thought leaders or the thought leader when it comes to this topic online. That's how I found you before we actually met in person and found out you were here in Phoenix. It's a significant move, and it's not one you want to make that move and then haven't done your homework and you want to move it back over a few weeks later. And I don't think anyone really does that because of the benefits of the self-directed accounts, but there needs to be a minimum balance, a minimum move, and it needs to be thought out before that move takes place.
Right.
One question that we have from an investor, got this about a week ago, and I said, Matt's going to be in here. I'm going to ask him. So
all right.
My question is about RMDs from the NV REIT.
Okay.
And this is from an investor who has their account with you.
Okay.
They have significant investments with us all through their directed IRA that's with directed IRA. So their question is, I understand that with 9 years before my age of 73 requirement for RMDs, that things could change again. But regardless, I am trying to ensure my understanding of how this might work should Congress hold with the current laws. I have outside IRA 401k funds in addition to what is invested in my IRA with NV REIT. When my RMDs need to occur, and what are RMDs?
RMD stands for required minimum distributions. I'll explain what that is in a second.
When my RMDs need to occur, do I have the option of aggregating the sums from all my pre-tax qualified investments and take from just one place of my choosing, or will NV REIT force my distribution from their REIT? Thanks in advance for helping me.
Okay, good question. So RMD stands for required minimum distribution. Now, we talked about the difference between traditional and Roth accounts. Roth accounts don't have RMD. So if you have a Roth, don't even worry about it. I presume this guy's got a traditional account. And those have RMD. Now, right now, you hit this RMD at age 73. And if you think about the traditional IRA, remember we talked about it, is you put the money in, you got a tax deduction. When you invest it and grow it, you don't pay taxes as you go. But the IRS is like, you eventually have to start taking the money out. We're not going to let you hold this forever and never pay tax. So they forced you to start taking money out at age 73 right now. This is what the RMD is. Now, when you hit RMD your first year, it might be like 4%. So if you had $1 million account, you've got to take $40,000 a year in distribution. Now, what the IRS does let you do if you have multiple IRA accounts, let's say you have a traditional self-directed IRA that's in NV REIT, and you've got a traditional IRA at Fidelity that's in the stock market. It's 500,000 over here at NV REIT, 500,000 over here at the Fidelity in the market. So the IRS says you can take RMD from either one to satisfy both. So if you have more cash over here at your Fidelity account, you can take the amount to satisfy RMD from the Fidelity account and the amount to satisfy your self-directed IRA account. Sometimes people's accounts that are self-directed are are less liquid, and sometimes they could be in land or in a deal that's not pushing out income yet. They could be in a startup or a small business or whatever. So there's no cash flow yet, or there's not enough to cover RMD. So that's one thing is you can use, and I think in his example, he says he has other IRAs or 401ks. He can satisfy RMD from those to cover the self-directed IRA if that self-directed IRA doesn't have cash flow. Now, you guys pay out cash flow in the NV REIT. So
yeah, 5% a year.
Yeah. So for him, even on that, if he's getting 5% a year on what he's invested, comparative, let's just say to his account value is what the RMD is based on, he's going to be fine covering his
RMD.
His RMD. Now, once you're in like your 80s or so, as you get older, that percentage amount you have to take goes up. It could get up to 10%, or so. So at that point, if you still have $1 million account, you might need to be taking 100,000.
So that at that point, in the case of our REIT, they would need to be selling some of their shares in order to meet the RMD requirement.
Exactly. And so if you're kind of like in your 40s or 50s, I wouldn't really stress about this at all. If you're like in your late 50s or 60s, like maybe think about this in your self-directed investment. I don't know that it's that critical, but obviously late 60s, 70s, this needs to be on your radar, and you need to make sure oh, well, I do have some in liquid stuff I could liquidate if I needed to, or I got to make sure that deal has cash flow to cover it.
And this question actually comes from a woman who is really smart financially.
Yeah.
And I
can tell because she was talking about she's got an account over here and this one, and that's a common question is, can I satisfy RMD for both accounts from one? And the IRS is very clear about that. Yes.
Got it.
They frankly don't care.
This is very helpful. Investors are going to be excited to hear that answer. Appreciate you. Let you know. Thank you for coming in, answering these questions. We probably on a daily basis are communicating with your team about different questions that come up with our investors when it comes to their IRA account, and look forward to having you come in again. We usually have you at least once a year to help our investors understand what they can do with their retirement account. So again, thanks for joining us. And you do have this event coming up in Phoenix.
Yes.
Here in a couple months, right?
Yeah, so we have the Alt Asset Summit here in Phoenix that'll be in October 20th, 21st, I believe. But it's altassetsummit.com. We're going to have you speak if you come,
I'm in.
Or at least on a panel. I got to get you there because it'll be in town. You don't even have to travel.
Yeah, great. Okay.
And then it'll be at Orange Tree Resort. We've done some other events there, but we like doing it there because we're going to do a little golf event with it. I'm not a big golfer, but we're going to do like a 9-hole. We do a charity golf tournament, and we're going to do a little pitching, putting, and driving clinic for the people that aren't big golfers.
Cool.
So we'll do some fun stuff. We always have like a rock band and stuff like that. So there's good networking.
Well, it's usually you is the rock band.
Yeah, I like to jump up on stage and play guitar with the band. That's kind of, it's funny because we're doing our self-directed IRA summit in Dallas, and the band, I told my team, when you go hire the band, tell them I want to jump up on stage. And usually most bands are cool with it, but my team doesn't know how to ask the questions. So bless them. I have an awesome team member running this. And she's like, yeah, they said they don't let you do that. They play with tracks and they got the sound monitors and they don't think it'll work out. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go tip them $100 each and say, I'm going to jump up on stage and play one damn song. I'm like, they will let me do it. Don't worry. I got this, which is what I do anyways.
Yeah, I mean, the highlight of the event is the directed IRA guy all of a sudden is in the band.
Yeah, that's the whole, that's the
stick.
Yeah, that's like the climax of it all. We got to have that. So, no, but we try to have a good time. And there's other cool people that are investing. And the self-directed IRA summit is more about learning the rules about it. There's the recording of it if you miss it. But the Alt Asset Summit that'll be here in Phoenix, or Scottsdale, I should say, in the fall, in October, that's about learning of the different asset classes you can invest in. And we have people talk about venture investing and angel investing, private equity, real estate, whether it's multifamily or commercial office. I have a really good relationship that speaks that's awesome on distressed hospitality that he invests in and has a fund. I mean, there's all those different things. You're not going to come to learn about a mutual fund or a stock. That's not the thing there. So it's all these quote unquote alternative assets.
Love it. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Jameson, though. I just want to add that in at the end here is just get over to directedira.com, though. We do have a ton of resources. We have our own podcast, the Directed IRA podcast. The first 10 episodes teach you about self-directing, kind of help you get over that knowledge hurdle. I always tell people learning how to self-direct your IRA is like playing a board game. It's not rocket science, but you do need to know the rules and how to move the pieces to actually do it. But once you've got it down, it's the same thing over and over again. And so I just want to say thanks for letting me be on today and spread the good word about self-directed IRAs.
Yeah, great to have you. Thank you.